everybody, welcome back. Dave Alden here. Today I want to be talking to you about Harold Parker State Forest. This is a staple in the Massachusetts mountain bike scene. HP is about 20 miles north of Boston and encompasses more than 3,000 acres of forest land in Andover, North Andover, and Middleton. It includes about 50 miles of trails from fire roads to classic New England technical single track. Now, the forest is managed by the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation, and a lot of the trails are maintained by the New England Mountain Bike Association, or NEMBA, and I thank them for all their hard work. I've been riding the trails at HP for almost 20 years, but I never really knew much about the history of the park or really who Harold Parker was. There's a website called North Shore Nature, which is just northshorenature.com, and it has an excellent and very comprehensive description of how the park started, and it goes into great detail about many of the trails, their origins, and a lot of information about the flora and fauna and other ecological aspects of the system. So apparently back in the late 1800s there was a rising concern for protection and preservation of the wild lands that had been cleared. And by 1914, Massachusetts had created the State Forest Commission, which was charged with purchasing and protecting these areas. The first commission included a gentleman by the name of Harvey Shepherd, another guy, Frank Rain, and Harold Parker, who was elected as the chairman. In 1915, this commission identified about 800 acres in North Andover and Middleton and established the state forest. And the first 550 acres were purchased in early 1916. Harold Parker himself passed away in late 1916 after a, quote, brief illness, end quote, and the state forest was named after him in his honor. The forest just celebrated its 100-year anniversary in 2016, but some of the trails are actually even much older than that. There's one trail near marker NA25 that's been estimated to have been in use for more than 300 years, based on some markings on historical property deeds going back to the 1700s. Other historical documents also highlight the area as an important component of the anti-slavery movement and the Underground Railroad, with documented visits from Frederick Douglass. Now, as cool as all this history is, we're really talking about the mountain biking, and the mountain biking there really is phenomenal. It's not one of the places I would say there's something for everybody. Aside from the fire roads, a lot of the single track trails are probably a little bit tough for someone just starting out. I would say they're definitely more on the intermediate to expert skill set, but it's certainly a beautiful place to ride. The only downside I would say is, number one, in certain times of the summer, the bugs can be almost intolerable. And then as you get into the fall, the place is actively hunted. Hunting season is from October 1st through February 28th, but most of the intensive hunting occurs during deer season, which is generally from mid-October, starting with archery, and then shark hunt starts just after Thanksgiving through the end of December. And then there's 1 week of muzzle loader hunting at the very tail end of December, ending on December 31st. So if you're going to ride in the fall, either be sure to wear a lot of orange blazing, or you can just ride on Sundays because hunting is prohibited on Sundays. Aside from those couple of issues, it's an awesome place to ride. The trails seem to go on forever, and you could easily spend a couple of days exploring and learning all the different trails. There are plenty of maps available online, and the great thing about this place is that there's a lot of trail markers out there at various intersections, so it makes it easy to navigate with a map in hand. I will put some links to maps on my webpage. The other good thing about this place is that there's plenty of parking access points, so you can park in one area, explore one side of the park, and park in a different area and get an entirely different experience. If you don't want to head out there on your own and are afraid to get lost, you can check out NEMBA's Wicked Ride of the East, which happens every year in October. It's a huge mountain bike event, and there are plenty of guided rides and plenty of marked loops. You can also check out NEMBA's webpage because they do plenty of group rides out there. Or last but not least, you could just reach out to me and maybe we'll hook up and go for a ride sometime out there. So anyway, that's what I got for Harold Parker State Forest. Check out my webpage for some links for more information. I'll have some more trail reports coming up in the near future. But until then, I say ride fast, ride often, and I'll see you on the trail. Peace out. Thanks.